Madison, XM Satellite Radio talk show host, and Ron Christie, former assistant to President Bush and Dick Cheney, and a Republican strategist. Gentlemen, good to have you with us tonight. All right, Ron, don't you kind of need to know what the minimum wage is before you come out against it? What do you think?
Well, I think you should. I think that everything that the government does, taken in context, should be looked at and make sure, are we doing the right thing to help people? When you look at the minimum wage here in the District of Columbia, nearly 40% of the people who are high school graduates couldn't get a job this past summer, and a lot of people said, did the raising the minimum wage put such a barrier in place that people said, you know what, I want to hire these kids, but it's too expensive for me as a small business owner. I think everything the government does, be it raising the minimum wage, be it regulatory policy, we need to make sure that we're putting people to work and not putting a barrier to entry.
I think it's ridiculous. The fact is that, look, big corporations, major corporations are not hiring. The problem isn't minimum wage. If you take the minimum wage that a family of 4 makes, they still don't rise above what? The national poverty level. You know, of course she should know what the minimum wage is, but she's a millionaire. When's the last time she's seen a minimum wage or had to live on a minimum wage, or anyone in her family? The reality is, this is once again Republicans showing how they will govern. They'll go after working middle-class people. That's exactly what they'll go after.
Couldn't disagree with you more, my friend. Look, I think when you look at small businesses and you look at families across this country, the problem with our government right now is that people in Washington arbitrarily set limits and they arbitrarily put out regulations without first looking at the impact on small business.
Ron, we didn't raise the minimum wage in this country for over a decade.
They ought to take an example from Henry Ford, who understood that by giving people livable wages, they could buy products. What do people who get minimum wage do, Ron? They spend that money.
Joe, are we going to have a Democratic filibuster with the two of you? You're going to let me make my point. My point very simply here, actually I do, more of a point than you do. The point of the matter is that the government, before we do anything as it relates to digging or what have you, we have an environmental impact study. If you're going to have an environmental impact study, I'm saying, why doesn't the federal government look at the impact of what it does, and the minimum wage is only but one part of that, to see what the business creation, whether it's going to help or hurt business creation.
So, Ron, I have to ask you, the reason why we filibuster you, because you guys over on the right have done nothing but filibustering in this Congress.
Oh, okay, and so I come on here and filibuster. Actually, I talk the truth. Again, if we don't have a demagogic discussion rather than one that's based on the facts.
Ron, well, the fact is we did not raise the minimum wage in this country for over 10 years, and it was the Republicans that continued to block it. Now you have a candidate, Linda McMahon, who says that we need to go back and review it. I mean, Ron, isn't that rolling it back on people who were struggling financially?
No, it's not, because all I have to say is the Democrats have controlled Congress for the last 4 years. The people in poverty in America, it's gone to 1 in 7. If you look at here in the District of Columbia, it's even higher than that. The last 4 years, the Democrats have had the levers of power here in Washington. They've set the tone, and I think what Linda McMahon is saying is, as a responsible public steward, we should look at all actions that people in the federal government take.
Okay, all right. Let's just take it out of the hides of the minimum wage people.
I'm not saying that, and again, I'm not going to let you demagogue me here. This makes me really upset. What I said is we should take a look to see what that impact does on small business. I didn't say we're taking it out on anybody or we're harming small business. Don't put words in my mouth. What I'm saying is the federal government for far too long has decided to pass laws and pass regulations without understanding their impact on families and small business. That's what we need to do to have a responsible government. I'm not going to play the class warfare game with you guys.
Oh, great. Look, I'm not even going to talk class warfare.
That's all you guys can do.
Wait a minute. All this we should have reviewed. What happened to the review when it came time to bail out Wall Street? What happened to the review when the Republicans decided to ignore the regulations that led us to this economic meltdown, to the point that you even have a congresswoman now in Minnesota who is now saying that George Bush was an absolute failure and putting him in the pocket of Obama. So what happened to the Republican review of government when they slid a 2-page bill that gave almost $1 trillion to Wall Street, and it had to pass? Don't review it, just pass it.
Well, what I say to that, here's where I was then. I was opposed to it then. I'm opposed to it now. And again, who was it other than Senator Barack Obama, Senator Clinton, and Senator Biden who were urging the president to push this through and to sign it as as quickly as possible. So don't try that if I was George
It was
Bush.
President Bush's bill.
It was Bush's bill that Obama and
That's all
Biden were
we
pushing.
need to know.
All right, gentlemen,
The other thing I would say to that, the only other thing that I would say to that,
we're going to get one more subject in here tonight. The nominee for governor in Maine tells the crowd that he's going to tell the president to go to hell. Here it is. Let's listen to it.